Hi and welcome to another video. We have to have a chat about the Renters Reform Bill, which has been touted as a once-in-a-generation shake-up of the rental sector. For those not entirely aware what the Renters Reform Bill is, then let me tell you. The Renters Reform Bill is an upcoming piece of legislation spearheaded by Michael Gove. It aims to introduce significant reforms to the rental market in an effort to provide more security and more rights to tenants. The bill was first proposed back in December 2019 and since then has gone through various stages of development and consultation. Which brings us to present day, which is May 2023, and the bill should go before Parliament this week following Prime Minister's question time. Since the bill's first inception in 2019, it has sparked heated debate with concerns raised by Conservative MPs, landlord groups and organisations advocating for tenants. The Renters Reform Bill is just one tool, but certainly the most high-profile tool being used by the government to address the UK's wider housing problem. However, as the government explores solutions for the UK's housing problems, it is vital to consider the unintended consequences that legislation can bring. Striking a balance between tenant protection and providing landlords with a fair and effective eviction process will be crucial in preserving a sustainable long-term rental market. Now let's explore in a little more detail exactly what the Renters Reform Bill will entail and how it could impact both landlords and tenants. We'll start on a positive note. The Renters Reform Bill fundamentally aims to provide greater protection and security for tenants. Now, the way in which it aims to achieve that is by far the most contentious part of the plan, and that is with a ban on Section 21 no-fault evictions. Which in theory will prevent tenants from being suddenly and unfairly kicked out of their homes, giving them more stability and peace of mind. Additionally, the introduction of rolling tenancies can provide flexibility for tenants who prefer longer-term rentals without being tied into a long-term contract. Of course, it is important to safeguard tenants' rights, but we must also consider the needs of responsible landlords and ensure they have confidence in the repossession process when they're faced with genuine problems like non-payment of rent and antisocial behaviour. Right now, whilst the industry is second-guessing the content of the bill, the thought of losing the ability to serve a Section 21 no-fault notice strikes a lot of fear into landlords. The Section 21 has always been the best friend and a safety net for good landlords. As much as a good landlord wants to do right by their tenant and provide them with a long-term solution for their housing needs, there is always the possibility that circumstances can change and the landlord may need to regain possession of their property. You may have noticed I was careful to use a couple of key words in those last two sentences: good landlords and their property. Good landlords aren't unnecessarily evicting tenants, they don't take the piss with rent increases, and they do maintain and manage their properties to a high standard. If that all being said is the case, then why should they not be able to regain what is their property? For whatever reason, why should they have to jump through hoops and effectively ask permission? Personally, as a professional long-term landlord, I absolutely avoid evicting tenants wherever possible. My properties are for rental and rental alone, and due to those circumstances, my need to regain possession could almost always be covered by one of the 17 grounds within a Section 8. If the Section 8 process can be streamlined and made more cost effective, then I could certainly manage without a Section 21. But I do appreciate why other landlords are very fearful of losing this as an option. It is crucial to ensure that the eviction process is fair for tenants, but also effective and efficient for landlords. All too often in recent times, landlords seem to be forgotten when it comes to discussions surrounding the difficulties that they face within the private rented sector. Strengthening the court system, investing in digitisation and increasing staff numbers is an absolute must, considering we already have a significant backlog of cases trickling their way through the current court system. The pace at which the eviction process moves today is entirely unacceptable and massively favours bad tenants determined to take their landlords for a free ride. Critics argue that making an already failing process even harder to evict problematic tenants could prevent landlords from entering or staying in the rental market. This will undoubtedly lead to a decrease in property availability whilst demand continues to increase, driving up the price of rents even higher and particularly affecting the most vulnerable tenants. The concerns raised by both Conservative MPs and landlord groups echoes worries that the bill's measures could inadvertently push landlords out of the private rental sector and toward unregulated holiday lets and short-term rentals where the potential for greater profits is higher. Lastly, we shouldn't solely rely on rental reforms to solve the housing crisis. Comprehensive planning reforms are essential to increase the supply of housing where people want to live. By removing unnecessary red tape and streamlining the planning process, we can encourage more construction and address the shortage of quality and affordable homes, particularly the social housing stock. Thank you for watching today as we touched on the complexities of the Renters Reform Bill. Lots more to discuss on this topic, so don't forget to subscribe and do share your thoughts in the comments below.